really impromptu video, and I wanted to come on and just kind of document how I'm feeling in this moment, because I get a lot of people who ask me in Q&As and in DMs and just comments, and a lot of people will say, you know, how do you deal with self-sabotage, or if you feel like your mind is maybe not playing ball, and I wanted to come on and just be really honest and raw about like how I've been feeling the last couple of days, and something that kind of accumulated to today, and like what I'm doing to try and stop my brain playing games with me, which we are also guilty of. So please ignore the ice cream van. What a time and a subject for an ice cream van to come up the road, seriously. So yes, basically I've been struggling a little bit with my head trying to tell me that I am maybe not doing as well as I know that I am doing. And I think this is really common on a weight loss journey. We get to a certain point and we tell ourselves like, oh, I've got so much further to go, or we tell ourselves like, oh, I've lost X amount of weight but you can't see it, I don't look any different. We start questioning our results, and we start questioning how much we have achieved, and you will generally find that this is the first stage of self-sabotage, and potentially leading you on a track to maybe where you would come off plan, or you would I don't know, like you would just self-sabotage in some way, order a takeaway, have a bottle of wine, have a chocolate bar. And it normally stems from these initial feelings of like not being satisfied with your achievements, or feeling as though you're not doing as well as you thought you were doing before. And I think recognising when you're having those thoughts can help stop you going down the road of self-sabotage and doing things that will be detrimental to your well-being more than anything. Like forgetting a weight loss journey, like being, you know, beating yourself up is not good for you regardless of how you're doing on your weight loss journey. So it's really important that you can identify when this is happening to try and put stoppers in place to kind of have your own back against that negative Nancy in your brain that's kind of telling you you're not doing good enough. So yes, like I said, I've been kind of not struggling with my own kind of weight loss journey, or my own, you know, losses that I've had so far, but I have definitely found myself this last week kind of feeling as though like, oh, I've still got a long way to go, or yeah, I've lost 7 stone, but like I've still got 3 more to lose, and kind of yeah, just not really sitting in and acknowledging those achievements that I've made so far. And I know that that was kind of happening, and I've been trying to talk myself out of it and being like, come on, you're being ridiculous. And, you know, we will try and tell ourselves how good we're doing. And then today, something happened whereby it was almost as though someone else had told me that I hadn't come as far as I thought I had, or someone else told me that I haven't lost. Well, it's not like I thought they told me. They've told me I've not lost as much weight as I need to lose, but I will explain. So for those of you who have followed my journey from the beginning or know anything about my journey, you'll know that my whole aim with this process was to lose the weight and then eventually have cosmetic surgery or plastics to remove my excess skin on my belly and to have a boob uplift. So I've always had an overhang. Always, literally from being a kid, as long as I can remember, it's always been my biggest insecurity. Like the one part of me that really, like if anyone said anything about that, like that would be that one insult that like ripped through me and kind of was like a dagger in my heart. Like, and it sounds so silly to some because other people's insecurities, maybe their skin, maybe you know, maybe their thighs, maybe their hips. Like we all have insecurities, and you know what it would be like if somebody poked at that one thing that is like a real insecurity, like, you know, deep within you. And my overhang has always been like that. My stomach has always been that one thing that I really, really struggle with. I've never shared any pictures on here regarding it. I haven't even got a before photo in just my underwear because I literally couldn't stand to look at it myself. Like it's something that really, really, like, I've just seen Gemma's comment, don't say anything more, you'll set me off. But it's always been that one thing that really is got to me. It's like a real personal thing. So anyway, I basically reached out to a consultant that I wanted to see and speak to about having the surgery to remove this overhang. I had to send some details, as you would expect, and I was never expecting to go and see this consultant now. This was always, you know, can I maybe arrange to come and see you in like November time, December time? You know, plastic surgeons have got massive waiting lists at the minute because of COVID in the last year. So kind of sent everything over on the basis that this is not for now, this is for in a couple of months' time. And they just basically came back and said, unfortunately, you need to lose some more weight. So you're not at a point yet where we can consider you for a consultation. And I think why it kind of like really stung was because I had to send the consultant kind of pictures of me in my underwear, which I haven't even taken for myself. And so that felt like a really big thing, to take those pictures and send those over. And then to be kind of told like, no, you're not where you need to be yet, was a really big kick in the teeth. And it really like hit at that like really part of me that's really insecure about, you know, that area. And for, you know, we all have moments. I think when you're overweight, you all have a moment, whether that be you couldn't get on a ride, or I talked the other day in my stories about being able to wear a coat and then not being able to wear a coat, in the winter, and then making up excuses for that, or worried you're not going to fit on a plastic chair in the summer. Like, you'll have those moments when you're overweight, and then when you come on a journey like this, it's kind of a win after a win after a win. And, you know, you have quick successes with this plan. You know, you drop weight really quickly, you drop size really quickly, and you kind of ride on this tide of just getting more confident and just having more self-belief. So what happens whenever all of that kind of can come crashing down in one person's comment? Like, you know, if you've already been kind of having a bit of a wobble in seeing your successes yourself, if someone then makes a comment to you, how do you stop that turning into self-sabotage? Because what I found today was that I received that message this morning. It was literally first thing this morning, and I was like, okay, that set my day off to a really good start. And then all I've done all day is kind of go back to that picture and pick myself apart and just kind of say, like, you know, you think you've done well because you've lost this 7 stone, but actually look how much there is left to do. Like, look how much is still, you know, to fix, kind of thing. And do not get me wrong, like, this is a doctor, like, this is purely based on like BMI, and they're wanting the best results for you, and I get that, and I get that in a couple of months' time it'll be fine and I'll be able to go and get the surgery, and, you know, you'll be seeing stories and lives on here talking about it, and it'll be fantastic. But this isn't about what happens 3 months later. This is about how I feel now. And this is about saying to you that if you're feeling like you're in that self-sabotaging mode, like you're picking yourself apart, and firstly, just be aware that that's what you're doing. I'm very aware that that's what my mind's doing. You know, I'm very aware that it's trying to, you know, naturally, if you have a bad thought or a bad mood, you'll ruminate on it. You'll just think it over and over again. And then, like I say, that just escalates and gets worse and worse and worse. And so to be able to kind of stop that in its track and really think like, no, I need to stop thinking like this, like, I've done amazing, going back over all of your achievements is so much easier said than done. But guys, I'm here to tell you that you have to do it. Like, I am having to try so hard to like remind myself of everything well that I've done up to this point, trying to tell myself how far I've come, trying to remind myself of all the things I've achieved in the last 6-7 months that isn't to do with, you know, my weight or how I look, like all the things that I've achieved in me. Because I think if I focus too much on the weight aspect, which is what I've been doing, I've been going over and over in my head, like, oh, I've lost this much weight, you've got this much weight left to lose, you've got this goal in your head, and this means this much weight per week. And when you start doing that, guys, like, it is not good for anybody. Like, you're just going to drive yourself insane. So I've spent like 20 minutes with me and my phone, and I've just written down everything that I have gained or achieved or got as a result of the effort I've put in over the last 6 months. You know, today's a prime example. I've got a brand new job that I would never have gone for before this, because of the job, and like it involves like basically quite a lot of presenting and meetings with like people, and I just wouldn't have felt comfortable doing that if I wouldn't have had the confidence, the increase in my confidence, the fact that I regardless of my size will now be out with Poppy and happy to have my photo taken, and like, you know, me and Jamie, we laugh more now than ever because I'm happier, you know, because I've built my self-confidence up, and like I'm really having to remind myself of those things, which is so easy to sit here and say and so hard sometimes to get in my head. But I know I have to do it, because if I don't, all that will happen is this will spiral, and this amazing, positive journey that I have been on will suddenly be tinged with a negativity that I've always said will mean you don't get to where you want to be. Good things don't come from bad, like negative emotions and thoughts. You need to try and be positive, and you need to try and turn things on their head, you know. So I joked with Jamie earlier on, and I was like, oh wow, this is just like the part of the film, you know, when things start going bad, and then like there's the big come around, and then you get the happy ending at the end. And I was like, oh well, maybe this is just that moment in this story of weight loss for me, and like this journey that I've gone on. But yeah, it was a real kick in the teeth. And like it has like really made me feel a little bit shit, to be honest. And I've always said I'll be so honest on here, and I will, you know, I'll try and document the highs and the lows and all of the in-betweens. And yeah, today was just a day when it was like the first day since I've been on plan that I've kind of stepped back and been like am I doing enough? Like, have I achieved what I wanted to achieve? Which is like the stupidest thing in the world to say. Of course I have. Lost 7 stone in just over 6 months. Like, of course it is. But those thoughts and that self-sabotage attitude is just creeped in. And honestly, if you let this carry on, you let this negativity carry on and talking down to yourself, you will. I can totally see why I'd be like, do you know what? Bugger, I'm just going to have a bottle of wine and takeaway tonight because I feel like shit. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to really like try and turn my thought processes around, try and turn it into a positive, let myself just feel a little bit gutted, because it was like, you know, it was a bit humiliating to get that and be like, oh my god, like, yeah, it was just a bit like shit. But I know it will come full circle and it will be okay. But I had to come on and get my thoughts out. A story wasn't going to be long enough. I didn't want to pre-record it, and I thought if I do an IGTV, I can save it to my page after. But yes, when those self-sabotage thoughts, you know, self-sabotage, people always say, how do I stop self-sabotaging? And the honest answer is, you have to take a few steps back and see where is the point at which that self-sabotage starts, and that's where you fix it. Because by the time you get to self-sabotaging, there's so much to try and unpick and work through. It's almost impossible. Whereas I now know, I can see that is exactly what I'm doing. Why am I talking myself down now? Why am I talking myself out of everything I've achieved? That's absolutely ridiculous. So if you're doing that, stop, please. And just remember the good things that you've done, and try and remove it from weight and weight loss, and try and impart other parts of your life that you've made better, whether through this journey or through doing something completely different. Like, you know, whether that's that you've been studying and you've got an exam that you've passed, or you couldn't swim and now you can swim, like whatever it is. I don't really care what it is, but just try and move it to something else, because otherwise your brain will just ruminate on the same thing and you'll just pull yourself down into a well that then is so difficult to get out of. And this whole journey, like I said, is one big lesson. We're learning lessons all the way. I had a little bit of a lesson of humility today, and a kind of lesson in being able to pick myself up and find that drive and determination to keep going, to get to where I want to be, even when there's a bit of a setback. And it's also being able to acknowledge that setbacks in your journey are not always going for a takeaway or food. You'll have so many mental setbacks that have got nothing to do with coming off plan, that are just life. just comments people make. Maybe you thought you were a size 12, put a size pair of 12 jeans on those sizes like on the high street and they don't fit, and then it messes with your head. Like, these things happen, and it's kind of how do we deal with those? Because normally, guys, what I would do is I would have been like you to the consultant, and I'd be on Just Eat right now figuring out what I was going to have for tea. But actually, I'm not going to do that. What I've actually done is realise that he's just a medical professional dealing with the medical protocol, and he probably didn't look at my pictures and think, oh, she's a bit hefty, like, you know, or, oh, she thinks that she's ready to see me. Like, you know what your brain does, like what you make yourself think happened. None of that probably happened. So yes, there is my little rant, honest talk today. I mean, I hope it helped in some way. It helps me to talk about it, and I know I'll look back on this and it will probably be like, you look back at these moments later on down the line and you're like, actually, I really built some character there, I really like changed something there, like I built a bit of resilience. That's what I'm hoping will happen here. But yeah, thank you for letting me talk in this little safe bubble of the internet. And as always, if you find yourself feeling a bit down today and need to rant to someone, then my inbox is always open. But yeah, see you all later.